Hey, thanks for watching. This is the first kind of YouTube lecture regarding the Neiss database and how to do a study with the Neiss database. That means the National Electronic Injury Surveillance System. It's created by the Consumer Product Safety Commission from the U.S. government, and it's a database that uses research from about 80 emergency departments around the U.S. for anybody who's been injured by a product such as Christmas trees, pogo sticks, toilet seats, anything like that. The hospitals record that data, send it into the Consumer Product Safety Commission. They keep this large database. Database is open up to anybody. You don't have to be any sort of government official or researcher specifically. You can research this from your home. Very easy. And what this series is about is how to do a study with the database. You can send it to a conference, get it published, anything like that. This series is really designated towards medical students, but it can be pre-med students, anybody in public health, any sort of student at all, or a physician, and they can use this to create a research study. So first of all, why do research? We can use it to help people. There's been several studies using this database that have been implemented for public health prevention. Examples include the electrical sockets that infants can stick their fingers in. If you notice that there's a lot of people who can place a plug in those electrical sockets, I believe that came from an NEISS study. Again, I'm not a professional in this at all. Additionally, there is recommendations regarding bunk beds. Children under the age of 6 should not be in a bunk bed. That recommendation came from the NEISS study. And also just recently, there was studies regarding children who eat batteries. This was a study done long ago. They redid it and shows that's still a problem. But these kind of public health areas for prevention came from NEISS studies, so we can use it to help people. Next, you can add to the collective knowledge. That's kind of part of why we present these at conferences or publish them. If you have a question out there, there's usually somebody else out there that has the same question, and so you go and look for the answer, then you can share that answer with everybody else. Third thing is you can learn to find answers. There's a lot of questions out there to be asked. You can use opinion, you can research it yourself and look up the answers through previous research studies, but if there's nothing out there, then you can learn how to find the answer yourself, and ways to find that answer is through research. The next thing is you can use it to explore your personal interests. Let's say you have an interest in rugby or skiing. You can use this to just explore that. Are more people getting injured with skiing accidents over the years, or how are they getting injured? Additionally, you can use this to explore other interests. Maybe you have a personal interest in research alone, or you can use this to be more involved with education, medical students, or students in general, or you can use this to collaborate with your colleagues, and maybe you like working as a group. You can use this to explore multiple different personal interests, maybe not just that in research or in the topic, but in how you facilitate these sort of papers. Or next, you can use it to build credibility. You can use research to become a professional in something like skiing injuries or mountain biking injuries. You publish the data in it, and now you become an expert in that field. And next, you can use research to become unique. You can help create a niche for yourself. Hospitals or residencies, maybe they want to hire somebody that has a unique niche in product injuries. And next, being unique can also help you stand out whenever you're looking for a job. In my mind, I imagine a medical student is maybe doing an away rotation, say they're interested in surgery or trauma, and they're at that hospital doing an away rotation, and they offer, like the program director or chief of surgery, be like, hey, I'm doing a research project. I can do all the stats on my own. I can write up on my own, but I need some kind of guidance. Would you like to help me? saying something like that, a program that you want to be at, can really make you stand out. Because anybody, especially program directors, people high up in surgery, they always like to look at research. And if you make yourself stand out in this sort of way, I think it's really a power move, and in my mind, it'd make a student stand out to me. So next I'm going to go over, this is the Nrmp match data. I had a student ask me, how much research should I do when I'm looking at a residency, or if I want to apply and match to a residency, like how many papers should I have? And I kind of used, when I was talking to him, I kind of used research from my hospital alone, but then I kind of looked this up and I found the answer. And this is public to everybody. You can look it up. The link is at the top of the screen. I'll add a link in the description, and you can go through and you can look at your specialty and see how much research should I do, such as how many papers should I publish or how many abstracts should I present. But we'll go over this. This is from 2022. So summary statistics, all U.S. MD seniors, all specialties. If you go to, let's see, number 6, it says mean number of abstracts, presentations, and publications. Of those who matched, it's 7.9. Of those who did not match, it's 8.6. You see right here. And then if you go to just research experiences, number 5, it's 4.4. So I'm not sure how valid this is. There have been studies out there that says whenever people submit their applications, maybe their publications are not 100% accurate, or their abstracts are not 100% accurate. And there's definitely some outliers in there. But this gives you some idea of, obviously, those who matched 7.9, those who did not match 8.6, that doesn't make much sense. So we can look at this a little bit further. If you want to look at your specialty, there's a chart for that also in this data set. For those who match, let's just look at something like family medicine, number of research experiences. This could be in a lab, not specifically a publication, but it's 2.4 of those who matched, 1.9 who did not. If you want to look at something, say, really competitive like dermatology, it's 7.2 and 6.1. And this is just research experiences. So if you go to the next slide, these are more specific abstracts, presentations, and publications. If you go to something like neurosurgery, it's 25 versus 11.7. That's pretty extreme, I think. Go to plastic surgery, is 28.4 and 13.8. I think this is regarding some of these new shortened residencies. So that's a little more extreme. And then dermatology, 20.9 versus 15.7. If you look through the papers that the Nrmp discusses, it does say there is outliers, so they have another chart where they cut it down, kind of make it more easier to understand. I'll get to that in a second. So if you are looking at something like, say, general surgery, does break it down more specifically for you. If you want to know kind of what the Step 1 or Step 2 scores are of those who matched and did not match, that's there. Again, I guess the Step 1 is now a pass-fail, so this may become obsolete, but Step 2 scores obviously higher in those who matched than those who did not. Then if you go down to number of research experiences, 4.7 those who matched, and of abstracts, presentations, publications, 8.6. So it's kind of high, I think, much higher than whenever I applied. So I think this is a better table to look at because there are several outliers. The top one, this is just general surgery, so this graph is there for dermatology, family medicine, internal medicine, all that. So you can go into the website and find whichever specialty you are specifically interested in, such as orthopedic surgery. This is better because they cut it down to none, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 or more research projects, or those who abstracts, presentations, publications on the bottom. You can obviously see that there seems to be a mode here of 3, which kind of makes more sense, I think. And then there's obviously more here around kind of 2, 3, 4, and there's probably a bunch of people out here that I'm not sure what happened, but 5 or more. So that kind of gives you an idea of how many research projects, publications, kind of gives you an idea of what to aim for whenever you are applying for a residency. So what I'm going to go over now is more of the Neiss database. First, whenever you are looking at this database and thinking of a project, a good place to start at is to see what has been done before. This is off PubMed. I just typed in Neiss, and you can see there's several golf-related injuries, volleyball, rugby, surfing, all off the Neiss database, and these are published in Oral Maxillofacial Surgery, Journal of Craniofacial Surgery, down here, Sports Medicine. There's like tons and tons of studies off this that have been published. You can see over here on the left side of the screen, there's more publications coming out of this database. So I'm going to go over some previous studies that have been published, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at. This is the epidemiology of pediatric baseball and softball player injuries. So what they did is they just compared baseball and softball. You can just do baseball injuries or just softball injuries or just pediatric baseball injuries or something like that. But this group chose to do a comparison of the two, so this kind of changes up some of the statistics that you can do. There's not many ways you can flip around the statistics to give you something kind of like p-value wise. But what they did here is they actually put out national estimates. You can do this with the database. You don't need anything special. And I'll show you how to do that. And then they put out proportions and with confidence intervals. And I'll show you that in the playlist of that I'm going to in the process of creating for you. How do you do proportions and how do you create confidence intervals? And then over here you see they pull out a p-value. It seems like, if I had to guess, this is likely a chi-square because they have baseball and softball injuries, these national estimates, and then they broke it down by a mechanism of injury, throwing, contact field, and then they probably pull out a chi-square to give you that p-value. And I guess this is likely what they did for body part diagnosis, disposition, and severity. And I'll show you how to do this using Excel, so you don't need anything fancy. Or if you have a statistician that's nice, they could do this for you. But these are very basic things to do. Confidence intervals, and it looks like a chi-square. And then they pulled out these simple, basic charts, which summarizes all their data very easily to see. And I'll show you how to do this also. The next one I'm going to look at is pediatric genital injuries. This is from Pediatric Urology. So with this one, they pulled out, and as opposed to doing like baseball and softball, which is you can categorize as two products, they started off with the injury. Again, pediatric. And what they did here was they pulled out the years of data, how many injuries were there. They created a scatter plot and then this trend line. And I'll show you how to do that. All that's is super easy to do with Excel. And then what they did next was they just did percentages. This is kind of a hard to read table, but the next thing you would do is percentages of these, they're getting injured by basketballs or footballs. And I'll show you how to do that. You can do all this with Excel. It's very basic, easy things to do. You watch my list, I can show you how to do this in probably like 10 minutes or less. The next one we're going to look at is motor vehicle related electric scooter injuries in the USA. This was recently published. It's like public health people, some PhDs came out of Children's Hospital Columbus, Ohio, somebody in Chapel Hill. Just recently published in 2022. And they're doing basic things again, just over the years, are injuries increasing, decreasing. With this, I'll show you what it means later in this video, but they had to pull this out of the narrative, and I'll show you what the narrative is. And then right here they did just some percentages and then confidence intervals. Again, not much you can do with this data. And then over here, p-value, likely off of a chi-square, because they're doing motor vehicle involvement, no, yes, and then they have several different boxes to fill, likely from a chi-square. And that's it. Next, I'm going to pull up a run-through of the Consumer Product Safety Commission Neiss Database. Okay, thanks for watching. What I'm going to do next is go over the Consumer Product Safety Commission website from the United States. All I did is at the top, it's www.cpsc.gov. And you can learn a lot from it from the website. You go over laws and regulations, see what's changing. But for the research part, what we're going to do is go to Research and Reports. You can click this. And there's actually two databases that you can access. This Clearinghouse Online Query Tool, but what we're going to use is the Neiss Injury Statistics. So click this, and you can learn all about it. There's about 80 some hospitals, how it's made, some frequently asked questions. But what we're going to do is go down to the bottom. It says Access Neiss. Click this. And we have this large query tool. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Look at highlights, pull out just years specifically. If you want to pull out 2021, an Excel file, you can pull it as a SAS file. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be a researcher, and we are going to go build a query down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go over this once. You can do this several different ways. I'll go through it twice because I want to show you something specific. But for this, you can do up to 5 years. You can do a date range. It goes from 2002 to 2021. But what I'm going to do is I'll do the most recent 10 years. And you can do product codes. So there's several products that you can choose from. You can go through the coding manual, this comparability. What I'll do is, let's look up pogo sticks. Actually, let's pull up something different. I'll pull up, we can do pogo sticks. There's several different things. You can do Christmas lights, anything like that. This is the product code that's available. It'll pop it down here. If you don't know exactly what you want, you can go through this way of searching for it. Like I want to look at yard and garden stuff. Okay. And I want to look at chainsaws. Let's do that. Let's do chainsaw injuries. So I'll just pass it over to the right. I want to pull out all age ranges, so I'll just leave this blank. Both sexes, I'll leave this blank. If you want to look at something specific, such as you want to group them in 10 years or 5-year age groups, you could do that. If you just want to look at males or females, or if you want to pull out the query separately, such as I want to query for just the males and I want to do it again for the females, you could do it that way. And that's actually a way you can phase your study, such as I want to look at chainsaw accidents between males and females, or I want to look at chainsaw accidents in pediatrics versus adults. So you can do this either way. Next, I'm going to go down to body part. For this, unless I'm looking for something specific, like I just want to look at, let's say I want to look at hand amputations or hand injuries from chainsaws, I could do that, or eyeball injuries, I could do that. But for this, I'll just do all of these. So Control A, select it all, pass it over to the right. And then same thing for diagnoses. Say I want to look at amputation specifically, I could do that of chainsaws, but I'll just kind of choose them all. Control A, pass it to the right, and you could change these around to change your output. Say you want to look at upper extremity versus lower extremity injuries with chainsaws. That could be a study. What I'll do next is we can go for disposition, were they admitted, was it a fatality, something like that. For this example, I'll just select all these and move it over to the right. Again, you can change this and fix your output later. For what I'll do this time around is I'm just going to send out as an MS Excel file, and then we will submit a query like that. And let's say that I just want to do a study regarding chainsaw accidents and over 10 years, and that's my study. This is the way I would pull out the data, and you can go through the rest of the playlist and look at how to look at this data, such as grouping it into years, looking at the body injuries, which body parts were injured or what sort of injuries there were. But this may take a while, so we'll just watch it. Okay, now the query has completed itself. It talks about the national estimate, 271,000 injuries. What I want to do next is I can go down to the bottom for download file, and then at the top right hand corner it makes a zip file. I can open that up, and then it has these the Excel files over here on the right, so you can click one and it'll pull it out for each year. And this is all your data. So this is 2012. These are all the chainsaw accidents that happened in 2012. There's quite a lot. There's 636 chainsaw accidents or chainsaw related injuries reported in the Consumer Product Safety Commission in 2012. And then we can kind of put all this data together into one Excel spreadsheet, or however you want to do it, run your stats, and you can make a paper off of this. So that's one way to do it, to pull out your data. The other way to do this is you can go back to query. Let's do it again. Let's go to 10 years. Let's go to chainsaw accidents. For some reason I did not find chainsaws. Let's go down through here, yard and garden, chainsaws, all two words. Flip it over to the right. We'll just leave all this the same. Select all this over to the right. All the diagnoses, all the dispositions. And what we can do is we can group our results by, let's say, we'll do body part group, and we can also do by diagnosis group. And then we can use this national estimates with our confidence intervals, coefficients, number of cases. And if you want to look at it this way, I found that the easiest way is to hit this tabs delimited text file and do it like this, because I can't get the national estimates if I go through the MS Excel or SAS for some reason. So I hit the tab delimited text file, submit query. So here we go. The query results have popped up. This is the national estimates. You see all these stars here? That basically means that there weren't any cases or enough cases to create a national estimate. But let's go through some of these. The number of cases of contusions and abrasions to the head and neck were 129. That makes a national estimate of 6,000. And here's your confidence interval. And you kind of go through, I don't know how you get I guess foreign body, maybe a piece of wood chipped off or something went to a patient. But here you go, you got national estimates, your confidence interval over here. So this may be good. There's actually, if you look through some of the cases or some of the studies, sorry, of the NEISS and PubMed, there's actually some studies that just use this data and they report this data, and that's the study. It's kind of weird. I don't know specifically which journals, but this is sometimes just the data that's reported, and they write a paper off this. But you can do it too. This is pretty easy. It gives you the confidence interval, so you can compare the confidence intervals of one thing to another, and if it's different or not, make some sort of conclusion off that. And then this is just off of the body part and the diagnosis. So you can do this other ways with the age range. If you want to look at products, like one product versus another product for, let's say, laceration injuries of the upper extremity, you can do that. And then you can just put these tables beside each other. So there's a lot of things you can do. And that's, let me go back to the, and if you want to learn about these estimates, this is pretty good idea, so you know kind of why some estimates are not created. Let me go back to the query tool one last time. The last thing I want to talk to you about on the query tool, and when you look at making a product, was, I don't know if you saw this or not, but actually let's go back one. There's a this NEISS data dictionary. You can click this, and on the left it will show you all the products and all the diagnoses that are available. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So you can use this as a way to form ideas. So you can look at ages, sex, let's race, like you want to look at African American versus Asian, American Indian, white, injuries of a product based on race. That can be a study of itself. You can look at just elbow injuries. Maybe you're interested in orthopedics and you want to be a elbow surgeon. You can do that. Or urology, some sort of, or an eyeball ophthalmologist. Look at eyeball injuries. You can go by diagnosis. There's burn injuries on here, so you want to be some sort of burn surgeon. Or dental injuries, maybe you're a dentist. Or it doesn't have to be in your field. You're just interested, like electrical shock injuries or poisonings. Dermatitis, if you want to be a dermatologist. Dispositions, so let's say you want to look at all fatalities from, anoxia injuries, like where do those come from? Are they coming from pools or from something else? Locations of injuries, you want to look at school daycare, like what's the most dangerous product in a school? Maybe it's pencils or doors or something, who knows, or farms or ranches. I haven't really worked with this fire involvement a lot yet. Or you can go by product. Now there's something else that you can look at as far as product. I don't know if you saw this or not. So if you want to look at product, this is the NEISS FMT. This is what we pulled out before. It showed you the same stuff, but you can pull out what all products are available. They start at 101 and they go forward. So we have clothes, water heaters, dishwashers. You can do a study on ice cream makers or juicers versus ice cream makers, maybe humidifiers. There's there's a bunch of different products here. I'm not even sure how many there are exactly. It's like maybe over 1,000, probably. Yeah, over 1,000 products that you can do a paper on, like bicycles and bicycle accessories. What else is on here? Decorative yard equipment injuries, maybe gardening studies is something you want to do, shoelace injuries. Just 1,000 different things on here that you can do a study with, or just compare camping equipment, mini bikes, inflatable things, sheets and pillowcases, toys, scooters, everything. So there's like over 1,000 products that you can do a study on. So this is really a limitless database for research products. So this kind of concludes this talk regarding the introduction to the Neiss database and how do you pull up a data set. I recommend you go in here and play around with it a lot and see what you can come up with. Again, I'm not a professional pro, anything like that regarding this database and how to use it, but it is really good. I think it's a good start for some research products or research projects, and get your hands dirty and make yourself stand out as far as a applicant for any sort of medical field, or you want to look at public health, anything like that. This is a really great tool out there that's available, and I'll leave some links in the description to help guide you. So thank you. That's it. Thanks. Bye.